This is the NFL's newest venue, Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, where 63,000 fans are ready for Peyton Manning and the Colts to meet the Bears on Sunday Night Football.
It'll be interesting to see if this is a play-action pass. Tony Dungy has a charity, and the people who gave some money to the charity came and he let them call this first play, and they called a play-action pass. I think Peyton Manning just audibled out of it.
Takes the snap out of the shotgun, faces the inside give, and then the pass is incomplete as the intended receiver was Gian Robinson.
He can be really the coach out on the field.
Second down and 10. He's working with a new center, Jeff Saturday, with a sprained MCL. Will be out for a few weeks. So you've got Jamie Richards snapping it. And here's a Dye's first carry of the season to the 35-yard line. Let's take a look at the Colts starting offense. 3rd and 6. They bring Gonzalez into the game as the third wide receiver. He's to the bottom of the screen. They've got Wayne in the slot and Harrison outside to the right with Manning in the shotgun.
We're going to see right here how comfortable Peyton is in the pocket.
Backs up, steps up, fires to the left side. That looks pretty good. Anthony Gonzalez makes the catch. So he felt the pressure, was able to step up. Looked like the same old Peyton on that one.
They're right, and the answer was pretty comfortable. You know, and that's what he had to do because, you know, the Bears know that, you know, he's going to have a problem, that he hasn't had any live games, so they're going to blitz him, and they're going to blitz him straight up the middle, try and pressure him up there, and he gets out of it, gets his feet in the proper position to be able to throw that ball for a first down.
Stepped away from the safety blitz from Kevin Payne that time. Now from the 44. Toss back to Adai, who cuts it back inside, but then gets whacked by Ogunleye. Let's take a look at the Chicago starting defense.
Adewale Ogunleye, Indiana. Tommy Harris, the University of Oklahoma.
Dusty Dvorak, Oklahoma. Alex Brown, University of Florida.
Lance Briggs, Desert Swarm, Arizona.
Brian Urlacher, University of New Mexico.
Hunter Hillenmeyer, Vanderbilt.
Charles Tillman, the University of Louisiana.
Mike Brown, Nebraska.
Kevin Payne, Louisiana Monroe.
Nate Basher, Texas.
Briggs missed 2 plays, and he's back in the game on 2nd down and 13 now after a loss of 3 from the 41-yard line.
And the Bears defense is up there in the line of scrimmage faking blitz all the time.
4-man rush. Manning has that one deflected at the line of scrimmage. That one was deflected by Israel Adonijah.
They drop out, you're left with less receivers.
Adonijah was doubled on that play and still got a hand up. 3rd down and 13. Showing blitz again. Here they come. The blitz is picked up and the pass is there, but incomplete. Gonzalez had it, couldn't hold on. Nathan Vasher with the coverage, but he'd gotten behind him, and Mike Brown, number 30, with the safety blitz that was picked up nicely.
And see, we showed the play before where they're standing up there in those double-A gaps, and they dropped out. They didn't come in a blitz. That time, Urlacher dropped out, and they brought the safety on an overload to their right side.
And now you've got Devin Hester. In 2 years, he's already established himself as one of the greatest of all time returning punts and kickoffs. It figures to be a high floating kick. It is. It's a little bit deeper than I think Dungy would have liked. Here's Hester with a chance to run it back from the 8-yard line. Hester already to the 20. And Hester does get tripped up at the 32. Dungy told us yesterday that he would have his punter, Smith, kick them high and short.
And brought it again. That was all on the center, Olin Kreutz.
That's an ominous beginning to the season. Hester is wide to the right. They hand the ball off to the rookie out of Tulane, Forte, and he takes it up to the 29-yard line. Let's take a look at that Chicago offense.
Kyle Orton, Purdue.
Matt Forte, Tulane University.
Jason McKee, Temple.
Rasheed Davis, West Los Angeles College.
Brandon Lloyd, Illinois.
Des Clark, Kathleen High School.
John St. Clair, Virginia. Josh Beekman, Boston College.
Olin Kreutz, Washington.
Joel Tavasta, Texas A&M Kingsville.
John Tate, Brigham Young.
Tate moves from left tackle to right tackle. St. Clair goes from right tackle to left tackle. 2nd down and 14 on a draw. This is Forte, and he's taking the spot occupied by Cedric Benson. Remember, they spent that 4th overall pick on Benson. Benson and Jones shared time a couple of years ago. They let Jones go. He went to New York, had a pretty good day today. in their win. Benson didn't cut it, and he got cut. And now it falls to the rookie Forte, 6'2", 216 pounds.
And they all like him. He has quick feet as a runner, and he's very good in the passing game, not only as a receiver, but as a pass protector.
And he stays in. He's an every down back. He's in on third down. He stays in to block. He helps out, and then Orton has that one deflected and incomplete. Dwight Freeney coming around the corner. Freeney missed the last half of last season, opening night, snapping the ball to Peyton Manning.
Right, and that's where the Bears are really going to rush tonight.
Now Joseph Adai will take the ball up to the 24-yard line. Gain of 4. And John, not only do they have the center, but you have a couple of guards in Johnson and Federkyle. Tony Hugo, of course, did a nice job last year taking over for the retired Tarek Glenn, but a lot of things to watch up front among those three.
Those three, and that's when we were talking to the Bears last night defensively. You attack pass protections on passing downs, and that's the area. Those three guys are the area that they want to attack.
2nd and 6. Manning to the outside, and that pass is caught. Inbounds by Marvin Harrison. Harrison with a knee injury, and the crowd salutes Marvin Harrison because it was pretty much of a wasted season last year. He got healthy for the playoffs, healthy enough to play against San Diego, but that day he caught only 2 balls against the Chargers, and one of the receptions resulted in a very costly fumble.
Yeah, and just seeing Marvin Harrison yesterday, he's a different guy this year. I mean, he has a sparkle in the eye, and he has a speed and quickness back, and I would expect that Marvin Harrison is going to have a big year for the Colts.
Fake to Adai. Manning moving out of the pocket, looking nimble, and that pass is caught at midfield by Marvin Harrison. Well, Peyton Manning was telling us yesterday, he said, watch out for him. He said when Marvin gets angry, he gets fast.
Right. And Peyton Manning is looking for him, too. The play before it was a cover 1 or man coverage. Here he's coming out in a bootleg. It's against cover 2. You see the corner come up, and the safety comes over, and he's going to get in between them. The thing that Peyton Manning was worried about, Al, was his footwork. Is he going to be able to get his feet in position to throw the ball? That's the first thing that always has to happen, and it looks so far that those feet are getting in the right position.
That's the 900th reception by Harrison from Manning in his career. Speaking about Harrison and being angry, I said to Peyton, I said, so what is he angry about? Well, he's 36 years old, is Harrison. That's old for a receiver. And there are a lot of people, a lot of skeptics, a lot of people in the media who doubt that he can be what he once was. So that makes him angry, and after that it makes him fast.
Right. He says he has a chip, and because some people say that he's not going to be able to come back, and he's through, and he can't be what he used to. And when you say that to Marvin Harrison or about Marvin Harrison, you're going to find out what he really is.
He's the second oldest receiver in the league. Only Joey Galloway is older by a couple of months. There's a fake inside handoff, and Adai stays in the block, but Manning has to backpedal and throw, and the pass is incomplete, and the crowd looks for a flag, and they get none as Brandon McGowan got there right at the same instant as the ball.
Wasn't a protect the quarterback call.
From the 32 now to the penalty. Manning to the left side this time, and this is Gonzalez. He's able to make the catch. Last year's #1 draft choice, second year out of Ohio State. Both feet in with 8 minutes to go in the first quarter, and another first down for the Colts.
And Gonzalez is out here on the left side. This is 3 wide receivers. The corners, the safeties are playing them to the inside. He just drives them up the field and then breaks to the outside. See, Vasher was looking for an inside cut or something coming to the inside. Gonzalez ran an out.
Colts have driven 60 yards in 5 plays. Manning stepping to his left, throwing, and that pass is incomplete. Gonzalez out of bounds, again covered by Vasher, so Peyton comes back the same way, and Manning has started the night 4 of his first 8 for 49 yards.
Yeah, we talked how they were going to attack the pocket. They were going to get, blitz straight up the middle, try and get Peyton Manning off his spot, attack those 3 middle offensive linemen. They've been doing those things, but Peyton Manning has still been able to elude it, get away, and make throws.
2nd and 10. Toss, a dive, inside the 15. It'll be 1st down and goal. And one thing that's a little different tonight, the Colts love to run that stretch play where Manning reaches out and stretches out for the handoff.
He's checking those linebackers up there in the line of scrimmage, changing the play.
Here's a dive, and he'll be stopped for a 5-yard loss. That's Tommy Harris, big Tommy Harris, number 91. Hurt part of last year, but he's made 3 straight Pro Bowls. Number 1 pick out of Oklahoma in 04.
I tell you, and if he is healthy, or if he can get back the way he was a couple years ago, I thought he was one of the most devastating defensive linemen in football.
He and Urlacher, the cores of that defense. They have Mike Brown back as well this year. He's been oft injured through the years, the safety.
Lance Briggs,
new contract. 2nd down and goal. Ball at the 11. Manning, good protection, then fires, and that pass is knocked down by Alex Brown, number 96, the defensive right end, and that'll make it 3rd down and goal. Clark is in the backfield. Bears rush 4. Manning steps up, swings it to the outside, and that's dropped by Gonzalez. So it looked like the Colts were going to move in for the initial touchdown in this new facility. Instead, Adam Vinatieri has to come out. Pleasant night in Indianapolis. Cloudless sky, temperature at game time was 74 degrees. From the 46-yard line, Forte for a gain of 4. Kyle Orton played his college ball not far from here at Purdue, grew up in Iowa, and then remember in 05, he was a rookie. He was drafted in the 4th round. Rex Grossman got hurt, so they wound up starting Orton as a rookie. And all they said to him was hand the ball off, don't turn it over. He did a pretty good job. They had a good record that year. And here's Grossman, who got healthy at the end of the year, led them into postseason play, and then was able to lead them to the Super Bowl. Meanwhile, Orton has been the number 3 quarterback, not even number 2, the last couple of years behind Brian Greasy. And that pass is deflected and incomplete.
You know, just talking to him last night, though, he seems like a very confident guy. I mean, I think that, you know, he feels that he should have been starting all along, and now he has a job, and he's not going to lose it. I think they still need those Bear things that we talked about. I mean, it's not all about a quarterback. I mean, he has to be surrounded, and he has to have the help around him, and to me, that always starts with a good offensive line and a good running back.
3rd down and 6. Forte with a 1st down and a lot more, and the rookie from Tulane will go into the end zone on a 50-yard run for a touchdown.
And it ends right there. That's exactly what we were talking about. If you can get in a 3rd down situation and you can hand it off and your offensive line can block like that and your runner can run like that, then it's not always all about the quarterback. You know what happens, you can see here that the Colts are in Tampa 2. Now, when they get in cover 2, the middle linebacker has to get deep because he has a deep middle. So Gary Brackett was about 8 or 9 yards deep, and that gave Forte a pretty good run at it. And there was a heck of a block by the right guard, Roberto Garza. Watch this. I mean, here's Bob Sanders coming across. Now, Bob Sanders, number 21, usually doesn't take poor angles. That time he took a poor angle. I mean, he has to go to an angle where he cuts Forte off rather than an angle where he ends up behind him like that.
Left Forte in his wake, runs by Sanders, so there he is at age 22. He's the first rookie to start on opening day in the backfield for Chicago since a fellow you may have heard of. There he is, Walter Payton, who in his debut against the Colts in 75, 8 rushes, no yards.
So contact, he thought that was his call, and I don't think they were worried about who had the ball after that.
I think you're right. 1st and 10, the ball is at the 22-yard line. now we've got Clark on a screen. And he takes it to the 30, and the replay booth has just confirmed for us that the reason was, as we had suggested, that they couldn't tell who recovered it. So it was a fumble, but the question became who had it in the scrum, and that couldn't be determined, even though Wolf came out with it after the scrum.
And I think that's going to be one of the notes to all the officials, that when you do call down by contact, continue to watch the play to see who does recover the fumble.
So the Bears lose a timeout, 2nd down and 2, and they're down to one final challenge in this game. And on 2nd and short, the ball is handed off to Joseph Adai, who had a big day in the Super Bowl, as did Dominique Rhodes in Miami, February of 07. Alex Brown makes the tackle here.
You're talking about the Super Bowl. The Bears were saying that they watched that game, in their preparation more than anything else, and they felt that in the Super Bowl, if they could have stopped the run, that they could have beaten the Colts that day. So that's why they're ganging up in the middle. That's why they have their linebackers up in there tight. That's why their whole defense is set to stop this Colt run.
Adai got the first down on the 2-yard gain. Manning now, great protection, very clean pocket, and the pass is high. Intended for Reggie Wayne with 104 catches last year. 3rd in the league. Vasher with the coverage. Nathan was hurt a lot last year, and that's one of the reasons Chicago fell apart from time to time last year defensively, because of all of the injuries. Harris and Vasher and Mike Brown and others. Second and 10.
But I like what they're doing tonight. I mean, I like the way they're, attacking a pass protection.
Here's a die, swinging to the outside, and the first man to hit him is Urlacher at the 35-yard line. That'll set up a 3rd down and 6. Now remember, the defense, the calls can be signaled in, and Urlacher has the helmet. Lloyd Lee is the linebacker coach. Bob Babbage is the defensive coordinator, but it's Lee who calls in the oral signal to Urlacher.
Right, and it's tough to do, because when the Colts don't huddle, then on defense you can't huddle either. So they still have the wristbands.
3rd and 6, the pass to the outside is ruled incomplete. What a shot. Charles Tillman hits Reggie Wayne before Wayne can make his first catch of the season, and it's 4th down. That's a two-sided coin. Number one is you go, whoa. Number two is, well, we had a bad year, so those guys needed to be replaced, even though in the case of Berrien, he was a good receiver.
Right, he was a good receiver, and they made a mistake in Cedric Benson when they drafted him the 4th player in the draft, and they had to get out of that, and they did get out of it.
And Greasy was not the future. Brian did a nice job, and he goes to Tampa Bay. They hope Orton's the future, and meanwhile, they know that Forte might be the future as well. That's a 9-yard gain on the heels of that 50-yard touchdown romp.
Just watching Matt Forte on film, and I saw the same thing right here, he has great feet. Watch him here. Watch how his feet are moving all the time. I mean, he can make those jump cuts. I mean, he can plant that left foot and then jump way over to the right and then plant the right foot and go upfield again. Very impressive.
Here's McKee. And like Manning, on the other side, he's a Louisianan with Peyton living in New Orleans, even though he went to Tennessee. Orton looks over toward the bench. Forte grew up in Slidell, Louisiana, right across the causeway from New Orleans, and then went across the lake to go to school at Tulane for 4 years and rushed for 2,100 yards last year with 23 touchdowns as a senior. Was the MVP in the Senior Bowl. Bears loved him, picked him second, and tonight he looks pretty good as he picks up a couple up to the 31-yard line.
Well, he has those quick feet that we talked about, but he's also a downhill runner. I mean, once he makes a break, he's not going to do a lot more of them. He's just going to, square his shoulders and get the ball downhill. And, this guy is going to make some big plays, as we already saw, but he's not going to lose yardage.
2nd and 8. Lovie Smith saying he was going to play him for the first 3 series and then go to the former Lion, Kevin Jones, on the 4th series. We'll see. Orton stumbles back, and then the pass is caught by Hester, so Hester playing on offense as well. not only a great return man, but this year they're going to move Hester in, rotate him as a wide receiver, and hope to get him in at least at the outset of the season for about 30 plays a game.
Yeah, and you know that he's such a good runner as a return guy. He's the inside guy here, so he's just going to run a little short hook, and one of those things, if we can just get him the ball in the open field, he can make something happen.
3rd and 1 out of the eye with Forte, the tailback. And Forte right through the middle again. And he might have been off to the races again, except Bob Sanders came up near the line of scrimmage to trip him up. To work out and take a physical. Matt Castle is their quarterback behind Brady. Here's Chicago now to start the second quarter. And this is Rasheed Davis making the catch. So, John, it's a funny thing. You talk about preseason, and we talked about Peyton Manning not playing in preseason at all, looking good tonight. Brady, because of that foot injury, doesn't play in preseason. And now, what's New England thinking about tonight?
They have to be devastated, but I think not only New England, I think the whole NFL is devastated. Tom Brady, one of the best players, one of the premier guys, one of the players, if you say who would you pay to watch, it's Tom Brady, and no one wants to see him out.
Orton going down the sideline, intended for Brandon Lloyd, incomplete. And it will be 3rd down and 5. So they lose Brady on opening day. Meanwhile, Brett Favre, the other story today, with a victory. But Miami, all things considered, made a lot of mistakes and hung in that game until the very end.
Right, Chad Pennington looked good. Miami looks like they're going to be a stronger team this year. And once you put Brett Favre on the Jets, then they become a contender. And then you add Brady out, and that whole thing's topsy-turvy now.
And of all things, the Jets face New England next week. 3rd and 5. On a draw, Forte will get stacked up. Pushed back by 4 Colts, led by Buffet.
Do anything to disrupt Peyton Manning from getting into a rhythm.
From the 18. Manning fires over the middle, and that's caught by Wayne. His first catch of the night. Out to the 36-yard line. His first catch of the season is good for a gain of 18. First down.
I said earlier that I thought Peyton Manning would be a little rusty earlier, but just knowing Peyton, I felt that he would work it out and kind of get in a groove later, and I still feel that way, that before this game is over, Peyton Manning is going to get comfortable, and when he does, he's going to get in a groove.
At the 36-yard line. And they give it to Rhodes. Rhodes, one of the Super Bowl heroes, went to Oakland 1 year and now back here. Let's go to Andrea.
Well, guys, the Colts are playing without tight end Dallas Clark, who is in the locker room with a right knee injury. Now, when he came off the field, he sat on the ground. The doctors checked out his knee. He did jog off under his own power. The Colts are calling his return questionable.
Dallas Clark, obviously one of the best tight ends in the league, and they flex him out so much. He's really a hybrid wide receiver tight end. 2nd down and 6. And Manning will throw, and it's caught on a slant by Harrison, and that's a first down as he takes the ball into Chicago territory.
And it's just going to be a matter of time until Marvin Harrison goes deep. If you're going to play press coverage and if you're going to have a safety over the top, they'll run the slants, they'll run the crosses. If you leave them out there, if you press them and you don't have a safety over the top, they'll go deep to Marvin Harrison.
49-yard line. 1st and 10. Manning throws, and that one is caught by Marvin Harrison again. 4 grabs by him. And let's just, as I assume almost all of you have seen football either Thursday night or today, so the GU stickers on the uniform in the memory of the late Gene Upshaw, who passed away a couple of weeks ago, and the big adornment on the field at the 50-yard line. The players will be wearing those decals throughout the season. The adornment on the field is for this weekend only.
You made the point with Dallas Clark out, all they do is go to 3 wide receivers, put Gonzalez in, and run the same formations.
2nd and 3. Manning, that's a wobbly pass, but right on the money to Gonzalez, who shakes a would-be tackler and is forced out of bounds by Mike Brown. Good spin move. Looked like Dwight Freeney on the other side of the ball on that one, as Gonzalez is able to spin around the defender and pick up 20 yards.
Yeah, Nathan Vasher is up there, and he's off a little. They're playing nickel defense. They come on a blitz. Gonzalez is able to go underneath. Then once he catches the ball, instead of continuing this way, he just pivots and goes back to where he came from.
Manning on this drive for 9 of 17 for 113 yards overall. The pump fake. Now to the end zone. Reaching for it is Wayne, and he can't come down with it. Just off his fingertips as he lays out in the end zone, and it's incomplete. Danielle Manning with the coverage.
Yeah, Reggie Wayne is the inside receiver in the slot. Remember last year when they would do this, they would put Anthony Gonzalez in the slot when they'd go 3 wide receivers. Now they leave Marvin Harrison outside, put Anthony Gonzalez on the other side, and then they work Reggie Wayne in the slot. I think he's a lot better slot receiver than Anthony Gonzalez.
2nd and 10. Manning over the middle, and that's incomplete. It was tipped. John, we know Manning pretty well. I would say he feels a heck of a lot more comfortable now than he did about an hour and 15 minutes ago.
Right, he was not very comfortable when he came here. He didn't come out and do that, pre-game stuff he did, and you could just tell in his eyes that he wasn't sure what was going to happen, when they started, shooting live defenses at him.
Wasn't very comfortable yesterday either.
No, he wasn't. He's lost a lot of weight.
He has.
I don't know that that's concerned him, but he's doing very well. At once, it's kind of like riding a bike, I think, for someone in his 11th year.
3rd and 10, they're swinging out here to Dominique Rhodes to the 16-yard line. He's taking medication to keep the infection away from the bursa sac that was removed from his knee, and he said it's suppressed his appetite, and we saw...
I would think when you have a guy like Devin Hester back there and they start at the 34, that's probably a win for your kickoff team.
It is, because the Bears last year, their average start after a kickoff was the 34, best in the league. And now they give it to Forte, and Forte will take the ball up to the 37-yard line. Fifth player in history with a TD run of 50 or more yards in the first quarter of his debut. Some others would be Michael Westbrook, Marion Butts, Earl Campbell, and you go back to the horse, Alan Amici, who did it in 1955.
One thing the Bears are doing, they're doing a good job of blocking Bob Sanders.
Screen, Forte. You see how tough he is, but then here comes Sanders to whack him.
I was just thinking, we don't hear much about Bob Sanders, and he's kind of the guy back there. When you run, he's going to be the run stopper. But they've been getting a blocker on Bob Sanders all night. And this one here, Bob Sanders finds his way, but he's playing deep. And he runs the screen, and then here he comes right there. And I'll tell you, when he comes, he runs through stuff. You set him up like that, and Bob Sanders unloads on him.
So much so that Forte, and we mentioned that Lovie Smith said he was going to play 3 series. This is his 4th. Jones comes into the game after they look at Forte's shoulder, and the former Lion, who was picked up after he was let go by Detroit, is stopped by Gary Brackett, but his first carry as a Bear nets a first down as we look at the rookie Forte. That's his welcome to the NFL moment, wasn't it, John?
Yeah, by Bob Sanders there. He was kind of set up. Sanders was the second guy in, and he's not ready for that. I mean, although he sees him late, tries to get that shoulder down, and that's where Sanders put the hit on him.
From the 45. Jones, one-time #1 pick for Detroit. Orton gets it away as he gets contacted. Intended for the tight end, Desmond Clark. He had both tight ends in the same neighborhood, Clark and Greg Olson, and it will be 2nd down and 10.
I think that's the thing they have to do, is just loosen this defense up a little by throwing a couple of deep ones, and you say that, and then watch John St. Clair here trying to block Dwight Freeney. Freeney just pushes him right back into Kyle Orton. So you can say, you got to throw deep, you got to stretch the field, you have to do all that. But if you can't pass protect it, if you can't get Freeney blocked, then you can't do those kinds of things. Kyle Orton, the deepest pass he's completed tonight is 7 yards.
2nd and 10, here's Jones. Well, John, it became an in vogue expression about 3 or 4 years ago. People started to say, you want a quarterback like an Orton in this situation to manage the game. And it was kind of a compliment for a while. And then it became almost a disparagement as Kelvin Hayden is shaken up.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is a negative thing. If a guy is managing the game, he usually can't play.
Injury timeout. Dallas Clark back on the sideline. He was testing his knee and he was riding the bike. Meanwhile, Hayden was poked in the eye. He comes out of the game. He'll be coming back in shortly. Out momentarily. Keelan Ratliff comes in. And Tim Jennings defensively. And Matt Forte is back in the game at running back. 3-step drop. Quick pass caught. That's Desmond Clark, the tight end who they flex out like his namesake, Dallas Clark. And a first down off a 3rd and 6. 19-yard gain.
You know what they did is they put the wide receiver inside, put Desmond Clark on the outside, and then he just ran that slant. Kyle Orton throws that one very well.
And Chicago now goes to no huddle. And one A team begins to emulate the other.
And this crowd has not been a problem for the Bear offense.
Not at all. Forte. Well, the dome was very, very noisy. I mean, you were locked in. It was small. You had 60,000 people on top of you. Clock ticking down. 5:45 left in the half. Orton throwing deep, and it's intercepted and then dropped by Kelvin Hayden, who just was poked in the eye, missed a couple of plays, came back in. Meanwhile, Freeney came in and hit Orton as he got rid of the ball.
Watch Dwight Freeney. If you want to learn how to spin on a tackle, you start up to the outside, spin, get that right arm up, and come right into the quarterback. Dwight Freeney, I said earlier, one of the best pass rushers, definitely the best spinning pass rusher.
3rd and 12, and now for the first time the crowd rises as one. Decibel level about as high as it's been tonight. Devin Hester is wide to the left. Orton flushed out, looking downfield, has room to run. And Orton bangs into Hayden and is able to pick up a couple of more yards, but is just short of the first down. For the Manning parents, it's over 5 quarters of not seeing their guys get the ball into the end zone. Peyton will go down under pressure by Marcus Harrison, a rookie out of Arkansas, who backs up Agunleye at end, and Harrison gets his first career sack.
Well, they've been doing a good job at this, at getting pressure right up the middle. Now earlier Peyton Manning was able to get to the outside and get away from it. But that time he tried to come to this side, and he couldn't get out here. Marcus Harrison beating Ryan Dean.
Badly. 2nd down 20 from the 2-yard line. Harrison comes in behind right tackle, and a dive. Can he get out of the end zone is the question. No. Safety. And that's Agunleye. Well, the Bear defense, which had become suspect last year because of a lot of injuries, didn't play particularly well in preseason. As I said, Bear fans are nervous. They're a little less nervous at the moment.
Right, and they were really confident last night. Now, remember, coming out, the whole ball has to get out. Going in, the ball just has to cross or break the plane. Coming out, it has to break through the plane, and the entire ball has to be out of the end zone line.
And it did not. It's a reviewable situation if they want to challenge it, but as you can see, he goes down, and clearly there's a part of the ball that doesn't come out of the end zone.
Well, I can tell you, Matt Forte is not bereft of confidence. I was talking to him last night. I said, how's your transition been to the NFL? And he said, very smooth. I'm not fazed by the speed of the game at all. Now, he pointed to the quick feet he has, especially for a big back. But he also told me if he's one-on-one in the open field, he'll take anybody on, even if it's Bob Sanders, as we saw him do.
Outran him after faking out the Fay on that 50-yarder. 1st and 20. Here he is. Puts his head down. Tries to move the pile. And gets it out to the 31-yard line. When the season began, or at least training camp began, it looked as if they might go with Adrian Peterson, not the Minnesota Adrian Peterson, as their number one back. And they picked up Kevin Jones, did Lovie Smith. And, of course, Forte had to prove himself. And there's a look at Peterson. And then you had Garrett Wolfe. So it was uncertain when they opened up camp as to who the guy would be. But quickly, Forte impressed and wins the nod.
Yeah, and I think Forte obviously is number one. And I think as a base running back, Kevin Jones is number 2.
2nd and 17. And that is caught for a first down by Brandon Lloyd. Another of the pickups. Finished last year on IR with Washington. Last touchdown he scored with San Francisco in 05.
You're going to see Brandon Lloyd here. He's working on number 23, Tim Jennings. Jennings has him, to the outside. Brandon Lloyd does a good job of just running him up the field and then bringing him back on a hook. Good pass protection. Kyle Orton was just able to read it, step up and throw it.
His specialty, leaping ability. Forte into Indy territory to the 48-yard line. So the 2-minute warning is coming. Indianapolis cannot stop the clock as well. Coming up on the Toyota halftime show. 2nd down and 6 now. First ball after the 2-minute warning is a pass to the outside, and that's caught by Marty Booker, the once and present Bear, who went to the Pro Bowl as a Chicagoan in 2002, then went down to Miami, and now they bring him back in 08.
You have to like what the Bears are doing now. Once they've established that they can run the ball, now the pass protection is a lot easier. And that last pass there was a play-action pass, and that's very effective.
Peyton is on the bike, telling us yesterday he would do that. It's the first time we've seen him tonight get on that bike as Forte takes the ball to the 36-yard line. Now, Chicago has one timeout. Clock ticking down, and upcoming will be a 2nd down and 5, and they'll go without a huddle here.
Isn't it something how Matt Forte, again, can just find those little holes and slither through them, and it's all with those quick feet.
He has 97 yards, and we have movement up front, and that's almost picked.
The closer he gets to the goal line, the better quarterback he is, the better passing quarterback.
And this time he won't get a chance to get it away because he's going to get sacked. Dawson is the first guy in there, and then Freeney is second.
Keyunta Dawson is over the right guard, and you're going to see him right here. He's just going to come straight up the middle, and then from the other side comes Freeney.
Freeney finished them off at 2nd down and 18. And now they're going to give it to Forte, and Forte is going to take it to the 36. So they were within field goal range. Now they're right on the edge, and they're going to take their final timeout here. That's Hester, slot left.
For the outside receiver.
And the pass down the right sideline is caught on the run for a first down by Olsen. And now they'll have to get up there and spike the ball. They don't have a timeout. So Orton leading them up, he's going to have to spike it. He'll have time to do that, but probably not to get into the end zone, as they'll just have to settle for a field goal attempt, and there he spikes it with 4 seconds left. So Olsen got free on a 3rd and 15, and now a chip shot field goal attempt to try to make it a 9-point game.
So you're going to see Greg Olsen, he's the outside guy. He's right here. Now they brought the safety up, so they knew that they were going to have man coverage, but look at the man coverage they had. They had a linebacker on Olsen because he's a tight end. Kyle Orton, when he saw the safety come up, knew that was going to be man out there, and he hits Olsen with a perfect pass.
Fedikiaho with the tackle, 25-yard field goal attempt for Robbie Gould. And that is good. 2 field goals plus a safety plus the Forte touchdown. And that takes us to the half.
Just stays in the end zone. They think the play's over. He didn't take a knee. You see, Hester doesn't do anything. He's just trying to lull him to sleep. Melvin Bullitt doesn't go to sleep.
In his rookie year, about midway through the season in New York, on a missed field goal, he ran one back 108 yards on a similar play. where he tried to play possum in the end zone, never downed it. The whistle never sounded, and he thought he could get away with it again. So now they start from deep in their own territory, and Forte will take it out to the 5-yard line.
You just see that look on Lovie Smith, and knowing that they had the momentum, they had everything going their way, or they still have that, and then boom, they give the Colts a field position turn like this.
2nd and 8 from the 5. Orton off the fake, moving to his left and throwing into traffic, and that one was incomplete. Raheem Brock put the pressure on. He tried to get it out to the fullback, McKee, and it sets up a 3rd and long.
Yeah, this is one of those things where you talk about Kyle Orton and being a manager and being consistent and not making the dumb play, and you can't make it here. I mean, this is where maybe you have to be a little conservative, but you can't force anything. You can't let the Colts have a takeover in this situation. And if you're the Colts, you want to go after and get a takeover.
Brought the crowd right back into it. Hester is wide to the left. They give it to Forte, and Forte can only get out to the 10-yard line. So it's 3 and out from deep in their own territory, and the Colts should wind up with the ball around midfield. Just 2 sizes larger. Here's Manning now. Starting from the 48-yard line, 1st and 10. Looking left and looking right and throwing it out of bounds, and we check in with Andrea Kramer. Andrea.
Well, despite that throw, Tony Dungy insists that Peyton Manning is not rusty, but he will not likely have the services of Dallas Clark for the rest of this half. Dungy said it's questionable that he will be back with that knee injury. The one thing that the Bears are continuing to do, and that the Colts have to guard against, is that pressure up the middle and the blitzing. Much success with the Bears. The Colts have to stop it.
And with Clark out, that means we'll see a lot of Gian Robinson, number 47, who sets up tight on the right side. First-year player out of Missouri Western State. Manning up on his toes. Manning throws, hits Wayne. Wayne will go down, but not until he picks up a first down, trying to spin away from the defensive back, Mike Brown, who gets enough of him to tackle him.
That's one of the things that Peyton Manning was worried about, is as you said, Al, he's up on his toes. I mean, this is the way he reads, this is the way he throws, and that was the old Peyton Manning footwork there. Reggie Wayne again in the slot on that side, running and out. When they put Anthony Gonzalez, they have 3 wide receivers. Gonzalez is one of the outside guys. Reggie Wayne is like here in the slot.
Wayne in the slot, Harrison outside, Gonzalez wide to the left. Manning deep down the right sideline, and a flag is thrown, and Tillman is arguing his case with the official one-on-one with Marvin Harrison.
Where you go to a Marvin Harrison. If he's angry and gets fast, this is a time to use it.
He's wide to the right. Manning looks to the slot man, Wayne, and that will be a first down for the Colts as Wayne is tackled at the 19-yard line.
See, by having Reggie Wayne and Marvin Harrison on the same side, when you run a slant, you can run a double slant. Marvin Harrison runs a slant from the outside. Reggie Wayne, you'll see him in the slot. He runs the slant from the inside. So you see it's a read for Peyton Manning when he has a double slant. He sees Reggie Wayne has a step, so he gives him the ball.
From the 19-yard line, the pass is good for a 4-yard gain. He goes to Marvin Harrison. Harrison has now caught 5 balls for 49 yards.
And that's the same play they ran the play before. It was a double slant. The play before, he threw it to Reggie Wayne, who was in the slot. That time they threw it to Marvin Harrison, who was the outside receiver. The wide receivers never come into the huddle. They just kind of stand out at their position, and the play is relayed to them.
2nd and 6. All passes on this drive to this point. It's the 5th play of the drive. Now the first rush, and it's a dive breaking tackles picking up the first down and making it a 1st and goal for the Colts. Finally stopped by Tillman and a skirmish at the 12-yard line.
You know what he audible to there? He audible to the run, and here's his read. Anytime he sees too deep here, he knows he has this and this, and he's going to run the ball. If he sees one of these guys up, he's going to throw it to an outside receiver. So he saw a double safety deep, and that was an audible to a run.
It was a little skirmish, and it was enough of a skirmish that Gian Robinson, who takes Clark's place, a tight end, has to come out. And now they go to Jacob Tammy, who's a rookie out of Kentucky, number 84, who lines up on the right side.
Tammy's not a real good blocker, but a good receiver.
Right, here's Wayne. And Gonzalez trying to lay down a block for him, but can't, as Mike Brown comes in to finish off the play and sets up a 2nd and goal. Devin Hester on the sidelines, knowing that he pinned them deep with the mistake, trying to come out of the end zone, giving Indy the ball at midfield, starting from their own 48, and then the Colts trying to cash in.
And took a little momentum away from the Bears and gave it to the Colts.
He got the crowd very much into the game. 2nd and goal. Fake to a guy to the end zone, and open is Wayne for the touchdown.
Some very, very solid coaches, very solid gentlemen. You know, they're fundamentally sound. They know what they want, and they most of the time get what they want in their play.
Now here's Kevin Jones taking it for a gain of about 6. Jones, a heralded college star at Virginia Tech, and the Lions picked him number 1, and then he was injured a lot in Detroit, and he was in and out of the lineup a lot, and finally they decided to go in a different direction, and he winds up with Chicago.
You know, again, I like the plan that the Bears have is getting a blocker on Bob Sanders if he comes up as an 8th man.
Jones. And he's going to get tackled by the outside linebacker.
And you know what they're doing? That time they brought up Antoine Bethea, and every time they do it, they're getting a tackle on him. And so if they come up to the right side, watch John Tate. He'll pull out there and he'll get on him. Every time they bring that guy up, they've been getting the tackle on him if they have to block him.
Brackett, the middle linebacker, making the tackle. 3rd and 2. Forte comes back into the game. The ball is at the 34. Half the crowd on its feet. Orton will sling it to the outside, and that's caught by Olsen, who made the big grab down the sideline to set up the field goal. Greg Olsen, their number 1 pick out of the University of Miami, now in his 2nd year. They were wild about him last year, loved him, and they think he can be a major star in the future.
Yeah, and he knows, you see him starting here in the backfield, and they know that they have man coverage when he sees the blitz coming. He knows that he's going to have man coverage on his outside receiver, but also on his tight end, Greg Olsen, coming out of the backfield.
Caught 39 with 2 touchdowns in his rookie year. The ball is at the 41 now, 1st down. More than halfway through the 3rd quarter. Orton to Forte. Wrapped up at the line of scrimmage. Orton saying last night, you know, we want to get back to a power running game. We want to complete a high percentage of passes. We want to take a shot downfield occasionally, which he's done tonight, and possess the ball. Don't turn it over.
You know, the other thing he was talking about was his receiver. He said, do you have a go-to guy? And he says, yeah, it would be Rasheed Davis. But Rasheed Davis has not been that guy tonight.
2nd and 10. Pass is caught by Forte, and that's a great tackle to at least momentarily save a 1st down by Clint Session, who comes up to grab him around the ankle, stop him just shy of the 50-yard line, and set up a 3rd down and 1 for the Bears.
You know, I like the way Kyle Orton's playing here. I mean, he's taking what the defense gives him. He's not getting antsy, and he's playing very calm on the road, and that's big in a quarterback.
On 3rd and 1. And they give it to the rookie, and he just does get enough as he stopped beyond the yellow line. Freddie Keaho makes the tackle. Forte has now gained 110 yards tonight, and he's the first player in the history of that venerable franchise with 100 or more rushing yards in his NFL debut. Right now, 109 officially on 18 carries.
You know, and there's nothing about Matt Forte that looks like a rookie, and I noticed that in training camp. I was up there at Bear training camp this year, and he just stepped right in as a starter, and he looked like he'd been there for years.
Now Kevin Jones is in the game. Jones lays down a nice block to buy time for Orton, but then the pass is thrown low at the feet of Desmond Clark. Daughter of Papa Bear, Virginia McCaskey is here looking on. Very short trip down here from Chicago, and she's seen a little bit of history in her time.
Yes, she has. Great history. You think of the NFL and the Chicago Bears and George Halas, and all goes together, doesn't it?
Second down 10. The ball is at the 48. Down in the pocket, the pass comes out to Brandon Lloyd, who makes the catch. No Bear has caught more than 2 passes tonight. Orton has gone to 7 different receivers, and the numbers are okay. 10 out of 18 for 114 yards, but as you say, John, looking mature, playing effectively, has his team in the lead, and on the move right here.
Right, and again, anytime they see a single safety, he knows he has man coverage outside, so he's just working to the outside, and when he sees a double safety, he's going to the running game.
Third and a deuce from the 40. Forte, and he appears to be a little short. Let's wait and see as the head line judge comes in, and this is going to be very close.
That interior, and they're playing with John St. Clair here at left tackle, and he's had his problems with Freeney, but I think all in all they're doing a very good job of run blocking and a pretty good job of pass protection.
Orton on first down is going to give the ball to Jones. Decent-sized hole. Jones gets to the 34-yard line. He's stopped by Key Dawson.
Again, watch the right side here. I mean, they get a good double team, and then John Tate comes off and gets to the next level. You're always going to get a big run when you can start on a double, and one of the offensive linemen is able to come off that double and get up to the next layer, being the linebacker.
Second and 5. Jones. To the short side of the field. Fiaho is the first guy there, and that's going to set up a 3rd down and 6 for the Bears.
We were talking about that play. Watch John St. Clair here. He's going to come out and try and get Bob Sanders. Sanders does a nice job of playing it. You want to keep it contained so that there's no place that Kevin Jones can cut that ball up. And he made Kevin Jones just run it out of bounds.
Forte back in the game. Sanders getting the crowd back into it for Indianapolis. 3rd down and 6. Key play. And the ball knocked away from Orton, who recovers it after Robert Mathis came around the end and knocked it away. So Adai and Rhodes are both in the backfield, flanking Manning in the shotgun. 4-man Chicago rush. And then Manning tries to get it off, and it's incomplete. Alex Brown came around the corner to force it. Let's go to Andrea.
Well, guys, I've been closely watching Peyton Manning's sideline routine as he juggles preparation and rehab. Here it's business as usual, watching the pictures on the phone with his coaches. Then he has to keep that knee loose. The biggest challenge he has is the stiffness on the bike. And finally, he does his throwing to warm the arm up before heading back to the field.
Manning tonight leading that 1-touchdown march to make a 9-point game a 2-point game. And that's what it is right now. Manning. And that's caught on the slant, and then the ball is fumbled by Harrison. And it's picked up by Briggs, and he's inside the 10-yard line, and he's going to go in for the touchdown. Charles Tillman created the fumble. And Marvin Harrison, who fumbled, and it was a big fumble in the playoff game with San Diego, the last time he played a game here in Indianapolis, costs one up here.
Well, the Bears come on a blitz, so Charles Tillman is going to be man-to-man on that slant. He gets the slant, he catches the ball. Now he comes in behind him and throws that right arm in there and hand and chops the ball out. Lance Briggs is right there to pick it up.
Since Lovie Smith took over in 2004, you can see 11 interception returns for a touchdown. And, of course, Hester, for the most part, responsible for the punts and the kickoffs. 4 fumbles returned, a missed field goal twice, a block punt. That defense tonight, not only with an interception return, as Harrison fumbles it away here after the hit by Tillman, and Briggs runs it in. But remember, the defense also created the safeties.
Right, and, when you talk to Lovie Smith, he says that, that the defense has to not only get takeaways, but has to score.
From the 10 now. Manning stepping to his left, firing, caught up at the 25. John, you make a great point with Manning not doing the things he would normally do. Physically, he looks very good. If you didn't know he missed preseason, had the knee problem, you'd walk in here and say, hey, he looks just fine.
Yeah, but he's letting the Bears off the hook. He's letting them blitz too much. And, it used to always be that if you laid off, you'd hit stuff in front of you. If you blitzed him or pressured him, he'd make you pay for it. And they haven't been going for anything big when the Bears have been blitzing.
First and 10 at the 25. Here's a die swinging to the outside, and a die comes close to getting a first. He's tackled by number 44, Kevin Payne, about a yard short of the first down as we tick down under a minute now remaining in the third quarter.
Yeah, and that's one thing that they have to remember. We talk about the blitz and and having to take some shots deep here somewhere. And the other thing, you have to stay with the run. I mean, that still has to be a part of it.
32 seconds and ticking down remaining in the quarter out of the shotgun. On 2nd and 1. And Manning's going to go for Harrison off his fingertips on the 2nd and 1. Pretty much a free play. Charles Tillman is there with the coverage. Incomplete. 3rd and 1.
They look like the old Chicago Bears the way they're supposed to look.
Third and 1 at the 33-yard line. One thing about the Bears this year as opposed to last, they're all healthy except for their rookie number 1 draft choice at tackle, Chris Williams. And now they give it to a die on a 3rd and 1, and the quarter will end with a first down at the 40-yard line. So at the end of 3, it's Chicago 22, up by 9. First down for the Colts from their own 41-yard line.
Look at how that Bear defense is pressing the line of scrimmage
all night long. Manning down the left side, and it is Wayne who is out of bounds as he makes the catch. He couldn't get both feet in. Nathan Vasher with the coverage on the play, but just off the mark.
And I think the Colts are thinking the same thing we were thinking, that if they want to be that tight up in the line of scrimmage, and if they want to blitz this much, you have to make them pay for it. And the way you make them pay for it is a deep pass, a big one. They threw it to Reggie Wayne, and it just wasn't complete. He tried one earlier to Marvin Harrison. Reggie Wayne was a little close to the sideline on that one.
From the 41, second down and 10.
77, him! 34, gun.
And then if you don't make them pay for that blitzing, then they just continue to do it.
And that's Wayne. Just before the snap, you saw Wayne, and he almost made that binocular motion to Peyton Manning, which they use with such effectiveness, as if come to me, and they do, and it's a gain out to the 47-yard line.
And again, that puts them in a third and manageable, and with this cold offense, this is a pretty easy play. Now watch Reggie Wayne right here, Al. Here's what you're talking about. He gives him that binocular look, knowing that guy's going to come, and the safety is way off of him. So he knows that he can run and complete that.
3rd and 4, trips to the right. Manning looking over the middle, now comes back the other way, And that's Adai who makes the catch, and he's short of the first down at the 50-yard line, and so the Colts will probably be forced to kick it away. Down by 9, but at least for the moment they're going to try to line up before Chicago can get set on 4th and 1.
Dominic Rhodes is the running back. Again, they don't have Adai in there.
Rhodes behind Manning on 4th and 1. And they do snap it, and they give it to Rhodes, and Rhodes will not make it. John and I discussing this in the commercial break, and I think we both agreed it's too early to do this because of this reason.
Yeah,
if you get stopped, you give them the ball at midfield, and all the momentum right back to Chicago as if it wasn't there anyway.
Right, I was sure that they weren't going to do it because I didn't know it was a good decision, but when they didn't have Joseph Adai in there to run it, I thought there's no way they're going to do that. Good penetration there. That's where it all starts. You have to get that middle block. When your middle gets penetration like that on your center, you don't have a chance in short yardage.
That was a Goodley and Briggs conversion. Now it's Forte taking the ball just inside the 45-yard line, and the rookie out of Tulane with make it 20 carries tonight and 114 yards. 50, of course, on that touchdown romp in the first quarter.
Yeah, and again, they just look like the old Bears, the running game and defense scoring, and that's who they are and what they are. And when they play like that, they're still pretty good.
2nd and 7.
They have out-physical the Colts tonight.
To the 40-yard line, and that's Rasheed Davis. And John mentioned that if there was a go-to guy, and Orton mentioned it last night, it was Davis, former Arena League star, was the MVP of the Arena League one year, came in as a defensive back, then been using him as a wide receiver the past couple of years, but he's been hurt, hasn't been that effective, but right now he could eventually be the number one guy.
Right, in Kyle Orton's mind, he's their number one guy. This is a big defensive play for the Colts. They need a stop here.
3rd and 2. Orton will throw it to Forte, and he'll pick up enough for a first down. A 4-yard gain over the middle, stopped by Freddie Keaho.
I was saying earlier that there's nothing about Matt Forte that looks like a rookie, but even the confidence that the team has in him, that Kyle Orton has in him, that the offensive coordinator, Ron Turner, has in him. When you need a big play like this and a big situation like that was, you give it to Matt Forte. Now, you can talk about confidence, but when you show it like that, you know that you have something.
From the 36-yard line. Forte again, cutting it back to the left side. And he moves confidently for a gain of 8.
Well, he looks calm, and it's tough to come into an opener on the road and be calm. We're talking about cutting and jump cut. That was a perfect jump cut there by Matt Forte.
As we go down toward the end of the period, right now 10:55 to play. 2nd and 2 for Chicago. And into traffic. This will be Forte. We were talking about Orton, John. He's matured. I mean, when he came out of Purdue, he loved the nightlife. He's gotten married in the last few months. He loved the nightlife so much there were a lot of unflattering pictures about him that made him sort of infamous on the internet. But in talking to him last night, he has the neck beard as well. But it seems as if he's almost a different person in a way.
And I think he is. I mean, and I've always said the best friend of a quarterback is a good running game or a good running back, and he has that tonight. That will give you confidence.
On 3rd and 1, off the play fake, going deep, and it's caught downfield by Desmond Clark, who fumbles the ball out of bounds. It'll be first down and goal. Desmond Clark off a big year. Freeney put the pressure on that time. Orton was able to get it away. 26 yards on a 3rd and 1.
You see Desmond Clark, he's the inside tight end, and they go play action pass. The Colts are up there thinking that the Bears are just going to run the ball, run the clock out. They go play action pass, and they get Desmond Clark deep. But he is a different guy, and I think when he got the starting position, he realized, okay, now it's mine. I can't foul it up. I have to keep it, and and he's ready for it.
Here's Forte. Can't get into the end zone. Inches shy. 2nd and goal.
Yeah, we talked about the wide receivers and go-to guys, and whether it's Rasheed Davis or Devin Hester, or it's going to be Brandon Lloyd. It's been the tight ends tonight. I mean, all the big plays have been made by the tight end. Desmond Clark just there. Greg Olson made 2 big plays in the first half.
One of them setting up the field goal that ended the first half. 2nd down and goal now. And they're going to give the ball to the fullback this time, and that's Jason McKee, and he's in for the touchdown. The 5'11", 245-pound McKee takes it in, and Lovie Smith and Ron Turner, the offensive coordinator, with that gutsy 3rd and 1 call. You can see the frustration on Manning's face right now as his team is in a huge hole.
Look, they put Matt Forte out here. Here's McKee here. He's a lead back. Watch these blocks right there. That's going to create the hole for him. He gets Kreutz taking his guy to the inside. Garza takes his guy to the outside, and McKee just runs right between them.
Drives have started at the 16, the 10, and the 14. So they're pinned again, and Manning will throw it over the middle to Rhodes, and Rhodes will come close to getting a first down. Meanwhile, Adai has a head injury, and we don't know whether he'll come back into the game. He was shaken up, and there he is on the sideline, but they go with Rhodes to start the drive. Meanwhile, Dallas Clark is also in civilian clothes right now, so they have lost him. He's been out since early in the game, playing with a short deck here. 2nd and 1. And make a first down on that left, and the pass is incomplete. It's Agunlaye who forced the issue and knocked Manning to the field turf. 2nd down.
And the Bears have just been playing them in nickel defense now with 5 defensive backs, and that's because when they lost Dallas Clark, when the Colts lost him, then they went to 3 wide receivers as their base offense. So the base defense of the Bears has been nickel.
So there is Clark on the sideline. 2nd down and 10 now. The ball is at the 24-yard line. Manning gets it away, and it's caught by Harrison. They'll be 2 yards short of the first down. Tillman makes the stop, and a big 3rd and 2 coming up.
You know, Tillman's played very well tonight, and so is Nathan Vasher on the other side. They've played a lot of man coverage, and I think that when you play man coverage most of the game against the Colts and Peyton Manning, they usually make you pay for it big time.
Key conversion here for Indianapolis. Under 8 to play. Down by 16. 3rd and the deuce. And the pass caught by Gonzalez, and he has enough for a first down. Needed 2, got 3. Vasher makes the tackle. They'll move the chains.
And that's been the stuff that the Colts have had the most success with tonight are slants. Slants to the outside receiver, slants to the slot, but they need some bigger chunks right now, obviously.
Manning's going for 208 yards on 37 throws. To the outside he goes, and those are little chunks right there. Wayne makes the catch.
Look at Peyton Manning. He went over there to talk to Tom Moore, and he wants something else. I'm not exactly sure what he wants, but I think probably what we were just talking about. We got to get some bigger chunks here now, Tom.
Meanwhile, we don't have the strip at the bottom of the screen, and I'm told by Fred Godelli, our producer, it's a problem that emanates from the stadium. So I'll read it off the board for you as much as we can here. 6:49 and ticking down. And on 2nd down and 5, that is caught by Jacob Tammy, the rookie tight end, and he'll move the change, and that'll be a first down up at the 47-yard line with 6:42 to play.
Yeah, Jacob Tammy does a lot of the same type of things that Dallas Clark does. Can play in the slot, can play tight end, more of a receiver type tight end than a blocking type tight end.
At the 47-yard line now. Rhodes repositions. Manning out of the gun. Here comes the rush. They get it off to Harrison. He gets a block from Wayne, but only enough to spring him for another yard or so. Good coverage here. Alex Brown, and then Tillman finishes him off, and they'll spot the ball at the 50.
You know, the whole thing that the Bears have done tonight, I always talk about pressing the line of scrimmage, but they had Brian Urlacher up in this gap all night. I mean, you take Urlacher where he is on a rookie center, and that has been a big, big problem for this Colt offense.
And in a way, it's gone a little unnoticed because Urlacher's a name we haven't mentioned that much tonight. But he's been very effective clogging it up inside. 1st and 15. And to the outside, here's Wayne. And Wayne will get bumped out of bounds by Basher's forearm up at the 49-yard line. It's a Gunlea, I think, who was called on with a headbutt.
Gunlea's 93 right there, yep. Those are the types of things that drive coaches crazy. I'm sure what Lovie Smith would say, right, we didn't need that
at all. From the 36. Manning under pressure, and he's going to get sacked from behind by Alex Brown. Back to the 43-yard line. A 7-yard sack by Brown.
Alex Brown came from the backside of Peyton Manning. I think he felt a little pressure to the inside. Watch Alex Brown here. He just pushes Tony Hugo right back into Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning started to try to get out to the right side, and Alex Brown caught him from behind.
5 minutes to play in regulation. 2nd and 17. And that's caught by Gonzalez, and Gonzalez is out of bounds at the 41-yard line, and that's going to set up a 3rd and long, and a very key 3rd and long. It's still a 2-possession game. I mean, it's 16 points, but it seems like a lot more right now because Chicago's been dominant.
Yeah, they've been dominant, and they've been physical, and they've really controlled the line of scrimmage. But the other places they control is the outside wide receivers. They control those guys all night, too.
And 3rd and 15, Manning has to check it down to Rhodes. Rhodes takes it to the 33, and they're going to have to go for it on 4th down here because the clock is ticking down, and they only have 1 timeout left plus the 2-minute warning.
So they can get a 1st down here, then they can take a shot.
4th and 7. Have to get to the 26-yard line. Manning stepping away from pressure. And it's incomplete. It's thrown a little low, intended for Gian Robinson, the guy who's replacing Clark at tight end. And Indianapolis can stop it only once, plus the 2-minute warning. This is Kevin Jones. And John, as we look at the Bears' offensive leaders tonight and what they have done, aligning the stars, and there's Forte with that big night, and Clark with a couple of big catches. Orton with efficient numbers. And, you know, John, we do so many games, and you come in and you get a feeling for a game, and you think, you know, Indianapolis is going to open up a new stadium, and Peyton's going to come back and play well enough, and they were a much better team last year than Chicago was.
And the Colts always start off strong. They're always good in September and October.
Got a flag down here for encroachment, thus a free play, and Kevin Jones will go to the outside. Lord and Urlacher yesterday, and it's not as if they were exuding confidence. Jones stopped at the line of scrimmage, but you got the feeling that, you know, hey, you know what? Maybe we're not seeing something that they're seeing. Either that or they're whistling in the dark.
Well, you know, they were pulling a lot of confidence from the Super Bowl game of a couple years ago that Lovie Smith thought that they could have won that game, should have won that game, if they could just stop the run. They couldn't stop the Colts run, so they came into this game saying they're going to press the line of scrimmage, they're going to tackle well, and they're going to stop the run. And what did the Colts run for? Like 45 yards.
Yeah.
And they did it. And I think this was a heck of a coaching job by the Bears. And I think they had a great plan offensively. I think they had a great plan defensively.
Here's Jones, and that'll be a 1st down. Lovie Smith, one of the things he also said was, hey, the pupil has to win at some point, and tonight's going to be that point.
Yeah, and there's still something to being physical. We can talk about, quarterback here, wide receiver here, running back here, but just going in there, and this is a very physical game. It's a tough game. And if you play it more physical and tougher than the other guy, a lot of times you can win that way. And that's a feeling that I have for the Bears tonight.
At the 43, final play before the 2-minute warning. Jones wrapped up there.
Where'd those things come from?
Where'd any of that come from? 2nd and 14, and Jones gets upended here.
I would say, you have a system, believe in your system, play your system, and just go on to the next one.
Stay with it. There's a flag. Jones, the ball carrier. Unanimous. I was hoping you'd say that. I mean, the defense was great, but he had that 50-yard run. Manning will now throw it over the middle, and it is incomplete because coming in is Mike Brown to whack it away from Reggie Wayne.
We didn't hear a lot of Mike Brown's name tonight because he's been playing that deep safety position. He was one of those, tough safeties that they used to bring up, and Lovie Smith said last night, every time we bring him up close to the line of scrimmage where he likes to play, that's where he got hurt all the time. So he said, we're not going to do it anymore. And for most of the game tonight, Mike Brown has been back here in that deep safety position.
2nd and 10. Dump it off underneath to Rhodes. And then he thread his way up to the 23-yard line. Alex Brown got into Peyton on that pass. Peyton has taken a lot of contact tonight.
Yeah, he said he wanted to get that first whack in the head, and I think he's probably had enough tonight because this Bear defense for most of this game put a lot of pressure on him.
Whacked out. Be a first down. To the 31-yard line goes Reggie Wayne. We're under a minute to play in the 4th.
Yeah, and I don't know that they have to do this anymore.
Colts 56 straight weeks, and that would figure considering how they played through the years. And we mentioned that long winning streak over 3 seasons in September and October, but with Tennessee winning, the Tennessee Titans for the moment will be in first place in the AFC South.
I'm not exactly sure what they're getting out of this.
No, me neither.
I don't think they need this. Peyton Manning getting knocked down here, getting shots at this one. This one's over.
Mark Anderson came in on that one. So for Manning tonight, you look at the numbers, 258 yards. You figure, okay, that's pretty good. But then you always have to divide that by pass attempts. And the number of pass attempts is 48. So for Manning and unmanning like 0.2 yards or so.
I think the big thing for the Colts and Peyton Manning is that he got through it and got healthy. And will it be okay tomorrow? Will he be okay Tuesday, Wednesday? You're coming back to practice and getting ready. I think that's a big thing. And if those answers are yes, then the Colts are going to be okay.
And the game ends on Mike Hart's first carry of his career, the rookie out of Michigan, with one more play now. Manning throwing underneath, and the pass is incomplete, and now it is officially over. So the Chicago Bears have come into Indianapolis and ruined the party at brand new Lucas Oil Stadium. Tony Dungy congratulating Lovie Smith. The Bears